This is the Leadership Lens, where we say the hard truths and fix the system. Today, we're talking about the coaching science. This is the gap that most systems feel but don't know how to fix. Specifically, we're looking at how to move from checking boxes to clinical coaching, because ultimately our goal is to close the gap between teaching and learning. Right now, school leaders everywhere are in the middle of an evaluation cycle. We spend hundreds of hours filling out complex rubrics just to prove that teaching happened. And on paper, it looks thorough. But let's be honest. If your observation data doesn't correlate to your student growth data, you aren't coaching. You're documenting. You're performing a compliance ritual, not building a system. And that distinction changes everything. Our goal is to stop the paperwork pileup and start building a calibration engine that actually moves the needle before the bell rings. Because if it doesn't move learning, it doesn't matter. So let's get to the root of the issue. Teaching is one of the most isolated professions in the world. Once that door closes, there's often a gap between what we planned and what actually happens. And most of that gap goes unseen. Most leaders try to fix this by doing 1 or 2 60-minute formal observations a year. And we call that coverage, but the implementation science is clear. Dosage and frequency outperform duration every single time. And that's where the shift begins. We look at coaching as a systemic calibration, not evaluation, calibration. We're calibrating the instructional triangle, the interaction between the teacher, the student, and the content. That's the core of learning. If we move away from evaluating a one-time performance and start coaching a specific instructional behavior within that triangle, then we build a system that can self-correct in real time. And that's what sustainable improvement looks like. We don't need heroic teachers. We need a calibrated system, because systems outlast individuals. So, how do you actually operationalize that? To make this work, you have to understand the half-life of feedback. Timing matters. Research from experts like John Hattie shows that while feedback is a powerful lever, it has a short shelf life, and most systems miss that window. If you give a teacher feedback 7 days after the lesson, the impact is near zero. The moment has passed, the connection is gone. But here is where most leaders stop. They do one walk, give one piece of feedback, and hope for change. Systems don't run on hope, they run on trends, patterns, not moments. I use the rule of 3, and here's what that means. You cannot identify a systemic gap based on one 15-minute window. You need 3 consecutive data points to determine if you're seeing a bad day or a bad habit. And that distinction matters. When you aggregate the 3 15-minute scripts, you aren't just coaching a teacher, you're identifying a pattern of practice, and patterns are what systems respond to. This is how you secure the information anchor we need for a system to hold, and where our clarity comes from. So now the question becomes, how do you actually see the pattern? You might be wondering how to move from a gut feeling to a clinical coaching conversation. That's the shift from instinct to evidence. Usually, our instinct is to walk in and write down our opinions about how the teacher is doing. And that feels natural. That is called high-inference feedback, and it's often too subjective to cause real growth. To find the truth, we need the X-ray view of the classroom. We need to see structure, not surface. In our model of functional tiering, the teacher uses a microscope for daily student work, but the principal uses an X-ray to see the skeletal structure of the lesson. different levels, different lenses. That X-ray is low-inference scripting. This simply means you are an instructional stenographer writing down exactly what is said and done without adding your personal judgment or your feelings to the notes, just the facts. This allows us to perform a strategic triangulation to see if the teacher's prompt actually matches the student task and whether that task matches the standard. So let's put this into action. If this is something you are working through right now, we have a micro move, which are small intentional shifts designed to help you reclaim your leadership so that you can build a system that holds. Here's your entry point, the micro move. Conduct a 15-minute single lever walk this week and execute the selective scripting protocol. To do this, you must be an instructional stenographer. That's non-negotiable. Selective means you are filtering the noise, you're choosing what matters, you aren't scripting the teacher's enthusiasm or their transitions. Those are opinions, and opinions don't scale. You're only capturing low-inference evidence in 3 points. The first point is the specific prompt. What did the teacher tell the students to do? The second point is the student dialogue. What did the students say about the task? And the third prompt is the produced work. What exactly is on the paper? Those 3 points tell the truth of the lesson. Here's the pivot. Once you leave that room, overlay your selective script against the standard of the day. Now you're analyzing. If the standard requires analysis, but your script shows students listening, the tool has revealed a rigor gap, and now you can name it. But don't stop at 1. Do 3 of these for the same teacher. This is where the pattern forms. When you show a teacher 3 different scripts that all reveal the same gap, you've moved from opinion to the evidence, and that's where coaching becomes credible. Within 24 hours, send a 2-sentence loop. And here's what's on it. 1, share the verbatim evidence you captured, and 2, suggest the specific move to align it to the standard. Clear, direct, actionable. Okay, let's close this out. Leader to leader. We don't have a talent problem in our schools. We have a calibration problem, and that is fixable. Your teachers deserve growth, not just documentation. They deserve clarity. Now, I'm not just talking about this and not willing to help you out. So to help you execute this, I put together the Coaching Calibration Checklist. It's a tool to help you use your scripting X-ray and the rule of 3 to find the best lever in any classroom. You can find that at the link below. Use it to anchor your process. It's micro move time. This is the Leadership Lens. I'm Longino. Let's learn and grow together.